position coach. If you don't have time on your plate, have his position coach call those parents and say, hey, we really need you here on such and such a date. We're having there's going to be a lot of great information, and just make that a big deal. Another thing is you need to go ahead this week, meet with your AD, and you need to get all the logistics of your travel. Make sure you know exactly what your budget numbers are if you haven't already, and make sure you have an accurate inventory, which, like I say, there's a lot of this stuff you'd have done already, but make sure it's done by this week and everything. There again, that's another thing, traveling, going for out of town game, having the buses traveled and scheduled. If you've got any team bonding activity that you may need a bus for, go ahead and get all that done this week. Just get that off your plate, and don't get in when you start getting serious, a lot more serious into the football at the end of July, beginning of August. You're just not going to have time. Plus, here's the deal. Like he said, it's hot in South Florida, it's hot in South Georgia. You want to get them bus requisitions in first, so you can get them air-conditioned buses.
Because they will, if you wait too late, they will give you a yellow dog with no AC on.
Exactly.
And also, Coach, think about this too. I know in Florida we sign 2-year contracts.
Right.
So you sign 2-year contracts to play a team.
Right.
But if your team is good, teams don't want to play you.
Correct.
So you have to get with your AD, sometime in the winter or the spring, and say, hey, man, let's go ahead and get this schedule signed. Let's get this thing done.
Yes.
There's some teams that you're going to want to play, there's some teams that you might not want to play, but you have to heavily communicate with your AD on getting the schedule right. Do not let the principal pick your schedule. Do not let that AD pick your schedule, head coach.
No.
Head coach pick his own schedule.
That's right.
Because if you lose, whatever happens is going to be on the head coach.
That's right.
So do not let a principal rush you and say, I got to hurry up and get the schedule out. I got to hurry up and plan for homecoming. No. You take your time and pick your schedule.
Or this is the money gate. Listen, you lose that game, that'd be money out of your pocket. That'd be the only gate you worry about.
There you go. So head coach, you're in charge of your program.
Exactly.
And when you interview,
exactly,
because a lot of y'all just interview just because y'all,
I want the job. I want the job.
No, if the parameters and the situation is not right, you do not take that job. And then you talk to a seasoned coach and say, hey, coach, I'm gonna interview for this job, man. What are the 15 things I need to?
Coach, I actually have, and I used to call it my yellow pad checklist because I had it written on a yellow pad back in the old days.
Yes, sir.
I have a yellow pad checklist of things that I go through.
Yes, sir.
And I check off, yep, they got this, nope, they don't have this.
Bill Kramer.
And at the end,
yep.
At the end of the checklist, I look and I say, okay,
I can deal with
this or I can't deal with this.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna tell you something, guys. You walk. I know you want to be a head coach real bad, and I've been guilty myself.
Me too.
But boys, let me tell you something right now. You can take a bad situation and mess yourself up for a long time.
Yes, you can.
And so make sure you go through that checklist. Hey, another thing, you want to schedule staff meetings for camp installation planning. You want to go ahead and get your install plan, which there again, some of you might have already got a lot of that going in June and everything. But also you want to send out parent reminders about schedules, expectations, and gear pickup.
That's right.
This kind of goes back to planning that pre-planning parent meeting.
Yes, sir.
So guys, all those things right there are things that are just logistical paperwork that you need to get done that week of July.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now the second week of July, this is where I think it's important to host the team leadership meetings with your captains, talk about your culture, accountability. Guys, this could be a dinner. You could just take these kids out to dinner somewhere or have your booster club feed them at the school, which is what I'd probably do, and just have a little team bonding or maybe, I'd be careful of this. I'd be real careful because I know some people say, well, hey, let's take them on a river rafting adventure or take them fishing or take them to the beach if I'm at Fort Myers. Well, you got to understand, the rest of your team knows you took them.
That's right. So
you want to be careful about this. I get it that you want to make it special for those guys, but don't get carried away because something that you're using to build your culture could actually destroy your culture.
Because they are watching.
They are, yes, sir. They're watching.
They watch up in college.
Yeah, no doubt. They watching at this level.
Why you getting that? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Kids watch, parents watch, and you really have to keep it as fair as possible.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't get the same thing, same treatment. That's a myth.
Right.
But you have to do everything you can to keep it even.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you know, if you're, to me, I don't know if Coach Pollock could agree with this, but to me, when a team of leaders can lead the team and lead the locker room and control the locker room, man, I've had teams so good to where they handle a lot of discipline.
No doubt.
And they handle it like grown men.
Doubt.
And they ain't nobody fighting and beating people up, but they say, hey, man, bro, you was late, you was class, come on, man, I'm going to run with you.
Yeah.
But when you can get your culture like that,
that's right.
It's going to be hard to lose.
That's right. And I tell you what, hey, another thing that you need to do this week, Coach, is you need to coordinate and confirm your hydration plans, your trainers, and your medical coverage.
Make sure your water cows are in order, all your coolers, you got all that.
Go ahead and meet with the ambulance service. Make sure they're going to be at every home game.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you got a team doctor lined up for your game. You know, if your school has a trainer, which I'm going to tell you something, if your school don't have a trainer, you really need to talk to your principal and superintendent and your school board about making that important. You need it. I mean, just for your liability's sake, for the school's liability, I think it's very important in today's, athletics.
Shout out to Jeff, my trainer for about the last 4 years, man. You know, came from Wisconsin, just godsend, man.
That's right, and like I said, I think that's super important, Coach, because so many people overlook that. Another thing, you want to finalize your team depth chart with your input from your coordinators. You want to go into camp and pretty much know everything, your starting lineup, and you want to know what positions are starred. That hey, we've got a real competition going on. Because as a head coach, if I know at a lot of schools the head coach has a coach position. Depends on what size school you're at, but. I know as a head coach when I was at a bigger school, and I was able to cruise around, practice a little bit, and watch. Yep. I wanted to know what positions are we competing. I wanted to watch those guys compete myself, and have some input. Obviously, be able to sit down with the position coach and coordinator and discuss the things I see compared to what they're seeing and everything. Right. Because that's so important that we make those correct decisions.
Big time.
Another thing is review your practice field schedules, your locker room assignments, and team meals. One thing that I would do in this category here is I would go ahead and come up with my inclement weather plan.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I know in the state of Georgia, they got volleyball going on. They got competition cheerleading going on in the fall. They got girls softball going on in the fall. There's cross country. When it rains, where's the football going to practice?
Everybody looking for shelter.
Everybody's looking to practice in the gym. Well, everybody can't practice in the gym.
Yep.
So you got to, unfortunately, there's some places you got to have maybe some priorities. Maybe there you say, hey, this team gets priority over this team, and we try not to do that. And if you go ahead and finalize this, and it may mean that one team has to go to elementary school gym, one team has to go to middle school gym, but there's a lot of headache can be prevented, a lot of feelings from being hurt if you go ahead and get this finalized this week. Meet with those other coaches. Yeah. Let's try to make it as open-ended discussion with them, and have your AD involved in the meeting, so he or she can stamp their approval on it, and there's no misunderstanding. So when everybody leaves, everybody knows, okay, if we get a weather alert, this is what we're gonna have to do.
We had a net in the middle of ours.
Yeah.
So we just had an understanding. Hey, if it lightens, we're gonna come in and get in what we can get in on half of the gym, y'all on the other half.
Right.
And I don't know if it rained as much in Georgia in the afternoon as it does.
Oh man, big time. And I can tell you right now, in August, listen, you talking about practice in the morning. We practice in the morning a lot for a couple of things. Number one is the weather. Number two is the heat.
And see, if just what he said, when you get a job and even as you're in a job and you see things shifting, you got to talk to your principal into allowing you to practice in the morning. I like having a morning weights class, an afternoon weights class. I can do a morning class for the freshmen. So I know they coming to school. All that little bitty stuff, man, you just would not, you do not know how much better it make your life.
They've always asked me, principals always, Coach, do you want football weightlifting first period or last period? I want it first period. And they all kind of look at me. I said, listen, I want to make sure them jokers are at
Come to
school every day.
Yes, yes.
You know,
yes.
I want to make sure that if they're not here, I want to know it during weightlifting.
That's right.
Before they go into math.
That's right.
You know, before they go into their language arts class.
That's right.
That way, if they ain't here, I can call them and say, hey man, what's going on?
Where you at?
And if I got to send somebody to go get him, I'll send somebody to go get him. I can talk to his mom and daddy, figure out what's going on. If he's sick, I understand that. But also, you know, I make sure too that they ate breakfast.
That's right.
You know, because a lot of kids, and we struggle with the same thing at the college level.
That's right.
They want to skip breakfast.
That's right.
So yeah, that this week here is a good time to go ahead and get all those logistics figured out for inclement weather and heat days, and you know where everybody's going to go, because like when one team's affected, the whole athletic department's affected. And if you have those meetings ahead of time, you can save a lot of headaches.
And then just remember, man, you know, my mom was a principal back in the day, you know, before she retired. And she told me this. She said a principal pretty much can do anything they want to do.
No doubt.
And if they say they don't want to do it, if they can't do it, then it's just they don't want to do it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
There
But
ain't
a
no doubt about that.
principal can finagle any schedule, any class. They can do anything they want to do.
Shout out to my man, Dr. Dana Pugh from Grayson High School, because let me tell you something right now.
Hey, man.
Dr. Pugh was the man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if you went to him and you went and you handled your business the right way,
yes, sir.
and you went ahead of time and didn't make it a bunch of last minute stuff,
yes, sir.
man, he would turn backflips for you, man. He wanted to make sure that you got what you wanted to be successful. He didn't want any excuses.
Yeah.
He didn't want any excuses. He didn't want you to come to him at the end of the year and say, hey, coach, hey, doc, we couldn't do this, and this is why we didn't win. Because I'm going to tell you, especially at Grayson, they wouldn't listen to that, you know?
And it ain't just got to be a male principal now.
No.
Because there's some female principals out there that get it done.
Shout out to Miss Linda Cowan at Washington County High School.
Shout out to Miss Corey.
Same way.
Jackie Corey.
Miss Cowan, she would turn backflips for the football team and athletic department to make sure that we got what we wanted. And we didn't have a bigger supporter in our community than her. So you're right. It could be a male or a female. And I can tell you what, those two, and I got some more I can name, but those two definitely were special.
Find that out on the interview.
That's right.
Ask questions.
Ask tough questions.
Ask the community. Ask the teachers that you know.
Exactly.
They'll tell you.
That's right. Another thing you need to do this week is you need to plan and assign staff responsibilities for camp. Go ahead and get everybody's responsibilities down. Who's going to be doing what? Who's in charge of what? And not just for camp, but for the whole season. You know. Hey, Coach. Now the third week we're starting to ramp up a little bit now. We're starting to ramp up a little bit.
It's getting close.
You want to hold final all staff camp prep meetings.
That's right.
You want to make sure camp is. And I'm going to tell you something. One thing that I've done is this is when I've had my coaches retreat. Maybe one of those weekends. Maybe go Friday night and stay all day Saturday, and go Saturday night, go to some camp, not like a campground or something that's nice that you can stay in and be comfortable. But you can have a little dinner Friday night with the coaches, eat breakfast in the morning, work all day Saturday on finalizing some of this stuff. Have a little recreational time, take your fishing pole, do some things like that. Maybe come back Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Yes, sir.
But that's a good time to if you're going to do a coaching retreat, to do it during this time frame. Also, you want to meet with school administration, academic check-ins and support. Make sure we understand our tutoring sessions and things like that. And guys, I'm going to tell you something else. We keep harping back to being able to practice in the morning. I'll tell you another advantage of practicing in the morning, Coach. If that kid needs to stay after school with a teacher, and you've already practiced that morning, and I'm not coaches. I know you can't practice every morning.
That's right.
But I got to the point where I would practice Monday after school, Tuesday after school, and then I would practice Wednesday morning before school, because Wednesday was hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes at the longest.
We had a Thursday study holiday.
And we did Thursday morning before practice, because Thursday was kind of walk through. I just felt like Wednesday was our last day in pads. So I felt like it gave them some extra hours. Like if you practice Wednesday afternoon and got through at say 5:30, 6 o'clock, compared to practicing, Wednesday morning and getting through at like 7 or 7:30 in the morning, you've almost had opened up a 12-hour window there of more rest.
Well, parents on these lives, This live in just for coaches. It's for parents too,
Right.
so you'll know the process. Because a lot of parents don't know the process. A lot of coaches don't involve parents in the process.
Right.
But these lives are for you guys to understand what's going on with your child.
Right.
How things, everybody does it different.
Right.
But you can get on this and understand how